Hey everyone, Blessed Ostara, for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, for those in the Southern, Blessed Mabon. I wanted to do a sharing for today that kind of gets back to my kitchen witchery roots. This is a meal that I make every Ostara. I call it my Ostara Blessings Quiche. This is actually a recipe that I found, of all places, online that was from the movie, for those of you that have seen it, called Waitress. Um, she calls it Bad Baby Pie in that movie, and I absolutely, as soon as I heard the recipe that she laid out for it, I'm like, I love this. I Googled it, found that someone had put the recipe online, and I found that I was making this every Ostara, so this has kind of become a tradition for me. Um, Sometimes I'll make it the night before, so it's ready to go on Ostara morning. Today I decided to make it up on Ostara since I had the day off, which means instead of like a nice breakfast, it's now going to be more of a lunch type of a deal. But I thought I would do a video showing how I go about doing this and kind of connecting to the ancestors when I make something like this. You can connect to the ancestors via kitchen witchery, or do kitchen witchery in any way. You don't need to do a formal setup like I've done today. You don't need to, all you need is intent. All you need is thought. All you need is that kind of connection. But on Sabbaths, I like to try to go make it a little bit more ritualized, make it a bit more of a formal thing. And even just sitting at the table preparing everything to start a video for this, once the candles were lit and I asked the elements to join and invited the spirit of the season, the ancestors, and I even put a couple of things on this makeshift kitchen witch altar for today to represent my patron god and matron goddess. I just instantly felt warm and fuzzy as I started prepping everything up. So it definitely helps with kind of that momentum for me. So just something to think of. I'm going to explain a little bit about this little centerpiece I've got going on here. As you can see around the sides, can't really see behind all the candles, I've got my elemental warden candles. I lit each of them and set a little thing into them, asking the elements to join and bless this creation. Then I lit, there's the proper English, Anna. We've got, this is my ancestor candle, and you probably can't see it too well, but I do have this very long and detailed inscription on there in the witch's alphabet, as usual. And then what I did was I took ashes and smeared it on top of the candle. The candle is Lily of the Valley, and Lily of the Valley for me is a huge connector to the ancestors because it connects me to my grandfather Ray. But in the traditional correspondences for Lily of the Valley, you have immortality, you have the idea of the life cycle, you have rebirth, life, death, and continuously. So I thought that was a very good correspondence traditionally, and because it did remind me of my grandpa Ray, because he used to grow them like a madman, I thought it was a good connection on a personal level as well. Then I lit my Sabbath or seasonal candle. This year, Ostara kind of crept up on me. I've been sick, so I wasn't able to get into it as much as usual. And I still had a decent amount of my Imbolc candle kind of still sitting here waiting. And I realized, although I had Imbolc inscribed upon this candle, the inscription is for Imbolc, I felt, I'm still connected to this candle. It's not finished burning. I'm going to have it be my spring candle. Instead of doing Sabbath candles this year, I'm going to do seasonal candles. And I kind of felt like I did spring a disservice because this was specifically Imbolc, and now it's also serving for Ostara. But there's my oven preheated. But it's it's something that I feel flexible with. And I think sometimes in the craft, that's something to keep in mind is flexibility, especially when we have the kind of schedules that we have and things that we have going on. Flexibility is a good thing. Then I have my skull here, again, just to kind of connect to the ancestors a bit more. Kitchen witchery is really something that's been handed down in my family, and it is one of the greatest ways for me to connect to those who have departed. So I wanted to invite them to be part of the creation of this quiche and really part of this opening celebration for the spring. Then I added a piece of petrified wood that I have in honor of Cernunnos. I have clear quartz, amethyst, onyx. I have a skull made out of apatite, opalite, apatite, Anna Carol. That is really good for communication between the worlds. I found rose quartz. And then this, and I am sorry, I'm going to write the name of it in the description. The name escapes me. It starts with an A. I can't remember exactly. My witchy sister bought it for me for my birthday. And as soon as I picked it up out of the package, I'm like, oh, that's for hell. So that is my little signifier for her. So I've got this makeshift altar up. And I put it on the kitchen table, which is where I'm going to be kind of creating the food. Here's all the ingredients. Warning for those that are vegan or vegetarian. This does have meat. This does have cheese. This does have butter. Does have eggs. I certainly don't want to trigger anyone. I certainly don't want to upset anyone. So if that will upset you, please do not watch this. But yep, so I've got my ingredients. We've got ham, we've got green onion, 4 eggs, which are in my handy dandy thing. Then we've got some brie cheese cubed up, some Parmesan cheese, 4 tablespoons of butter, and ground nutmeg. So that is what, oh, and heavy whipping cream is also an ingredient. I just didn't want to take it out quite yet. So that is what we have to work with. The thing I really wanted to show you with this video, I'm going to be doing a series of videos because, again, I'm going to have to move things around and kind of work at things on the stovetop and then pop it in the oven and all that jazz. Sorry, excuse me, I'm still battling that cough, so if I stop suddenly to take a sip of tea, please, I apologize, please forgive. Yeah. With that, there is my swig. Also, you might hear noises in the background. People are watching TV and stuff. They're being really kind and letting me do this video, so yes, if you hear background noises or voices, that's what it is. So something that I discovered in a journal that my grandmother has kept was when she would make pies, she would actually write a spell into the crust or sigils into the crust, as well as spells or sigils on the back of the pie pan. So I wanted to continue that tradition. I've never done that before. So I thought, what a great way, since I'm really focusing on ancestor work with this creation and I wanted to kind of share it, I think I'm going to start taking that into my own practice because I really loved it. So I made my pentacle or pentagram on the bottom of the pie pan. There it is. And it's to kind of source and serve as a foundation and power up all the good juju here. I wrote it in spirit, so I wrote it invoking. So I did this, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and went clockwise because I want to bring in all that good stuff. And then in the center, I have Vunyo and Doer for my rune and Ogum for Hel and Cernunnos. Then I also made the symbol, I'm sorry, my hands are shaking like mad, the symbol for Ostara around it. And the word Baktalo is actually the Romani word for happiness. I was hoping to find, I don't have the word for spring, and I don't know it. I don't have it in my phone or in any notes I have, but happiness I thought was a good word for this. And then I have the alchemy symbols for earth, air, fire, or nope, earth, air, water, and fire, and of course spirit. And that's because I want all of the elements to be incorporated. I want the Sabbath or the season to be incorporated. I want Hel and Cernunnos to be present. Lunyo is good for joy and happiness and all that kind of warm juju. Dur is representative of oak, so we have strength, nobility, very, very much kind of the sacred. And I see it as kind of a protective thing, and could always use a little bit of protection. And then, of course, using the Romani word for happiness kind of adds a little bit more of that ancestral connection. And I chose purple Sharpie again. Purple really represents spiritual connection for me, but it also takes it a step further. This spring, I am associating it so hardcore with spring. Amethyst is just all over the place. Although now I'm kind of feeling a shift from that amethyst of Imbolc into rose quartz of Ostara. Just kind of a thought I thought I would share. So that is what's kind of at the base of this. And now I'm going to actually put in a little bit of an inscription into the crust as it bakes. Sorry for my big arm. So I'm going to take the fork. My God, my hands are shaking like crazy. Oh, sorry. This video, I'm sorry for the quality, guys. So I'm going to create, I'm going to put the sigil for Ostara. And as I am doing this, I'm thinking of all the good, warm, fuzzy things about Ostara. Fertility, abundance, rebirth, connection to the mother, connection to the maiden, the warmth, the light coming back, nature springing back, and us being able to kind of join back with her. And the top is going to get a little short. But it'll work. And there we go. And then again, I'm just going to put the rune for Lunyo and the rune and the ogum for oak. And you know what? I'm also going to do the alchemy symbols. And then we have fire, or no, we have water. I did it again. And we have fire. So there we go. That is what the inside of my pie will look like. This recipe specifically does not call for holes to be poked in the pie crust, but I kind of like this. I feel like it makes it a bit more magical. It puts that intent a bit more into the food. This pie crust, coincidentally, is store-bought. It was already pan-in, and I think that leads me to another point, which is, again, kind of going off of that flexibility I spoke to earlier. It's great if you have time and the resources to make your own crust. The more that can be handmade, I think the better. But when you are running around, when you are sick, when you have children or pets, fur babies are a huge thing. When you have crazy responsibilities that you kind of have to deal with, there are going to be those times when you can't do everything as witchy as you want. Don't feel like you are shorting the magic. I have felt that for so many years, and I still kind of, with doing this, I'm like, oh crap, I don't have time to make crust. And it doesn't take long to make the crust. It just, as it is, it's almost noon and I'm just starting this. It's just time gets away from you sometimes. And I felt crappy I wasn't able to do that. But then quickly I was hit upside the head and made to realize the intent is still there. The intent is still good. It just takes a little bit more effort because I didn't knead the dough. I didn't put it into the pan. There were machines that touched this, I'm sure. It's just something you kind of have to think of and kind of do a little bit more cleansing and purification juju, I find. So those are just some thoughts. Don't ever feel bad if you have to buy, ham that's already julienned for this. Onions that were already pre-cut. Pie that was already, the crust that was already in the pan. It happens. You are still able to put your intent into it like a madman. So do it up. Don't not do something because you feel you don't have time. Shortcuts are there. You just have to do a little bit more concentration and focus, I personally find. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this first stage of prepping. The next stage is this has to go into the oven with some foil around the edges for a little bit. And then I need to fry up the ham and green onions. And I'm going to try to record that while I do that. I'm not entirely sure how, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, also just, I'm sorry. I'm remembering things as I'm going, and I apologize for the shakiness. Another quick thought. When you are doing this, like when you are prepping, like I cut the cheese, I got things in bowls, I got everything kind of set up. Even when poking the holes into this, the whole time I'm thinking of what I want to put into this. On top of that, for me, I'm thinking of my connection to the ancestors. I'm feeling them around me. I feel my two grandfathers with me. I feel my aunts with me. I feel friends that I've lost along the path. Think of those memories. Think of those good times. That will help add that hearth and home to your cooking. The idea that what we are thinking while we cook comes through in our cooking, I truly believe that. So if I think of all the good times, that is what is going to be reflected in what I'm baking or cooking or what have you. So those are kind of things I can't instruct. I can't show you how I do that, but I'm letting you know while I am prepping, while I am setting up, even with setting up this altar space, I'm thinking exactly, why am I putting this here? What does this mean to me? And a memory will come from that, and I will let that memory play out, and I will feel all of the feelings that are associated with it because it will strengthen this creation. Just as it's true with craft making and spell crafting, it's true in cooking. So yeah, that will conclude this first video, preparation. So thank you, and I'll see you in a few minutes.